Hey folks, in the previous session we have performed the word cloud analysis on top of our text feature, which is all about our question 1 and question 2. So let's go ahead and try to perform the semantic analysis on top of our text feature that we have. So if I will say how many questions textual context actually belongs to interrogative sentence. Imagine I have this problem statement. Hey, can you find how many questions textual content actually belongs to interrogative sentences? The moment I say this, this is typically a part of semantic analysis. This is basically a part of semantic analysis. Similarly, if I will say, hey, how many questions actually holds some special keyword, let's say as mathematics, let's say as machine learning, let's say as artificial intelligence, or let's say some other keywords. This is also a part of semantic analysis. Similarly, like some special character like full stop, question mark, hashtag, these are also a part of semantic analysis. So hey, can you perform this semantic analysis on top of our train_QS series that we have? Because we are fortunate enough that we have merged both the series, of course, question 1 and question 2 in our final series, which is all about train_QS. That's what we have done. So if I will say train_QS, cool, this is one. The moment I will execute, and if I will say train_QS, let's say data of 0th index, let me execute. So this is basically a data of 0th index. Now in this entire data, you will encounter that we have a question mark over here. Now how to extract particular observation which have, let's say, question mark? So let's try to do it. Again, just to do is you have multiple ways. The one way is you can think of defining own custom function. Again, if you are extremely good with programming, defining a custom function makes a lot of sense. The second way is, again, this is typically the optimal way. You can think of using something known as lambda approach. Again, lambda is nothing but it is all about our anonymous function. In general, it is nothing but an anonymous function or function without definition. So let's try to touch upon, of course, our custom function. Along with, we will also try to touch upon this lambda approach as well. Let's try to do this. So I will say define find_semantic. Let's try to define some functions. I will say find_semantics. Whatever row or whatever x I will pass to it, and let's say some symbol. Imagine symbol is, let's say, question mark, whatever else. So I will say if the symbol is available in x, it means symbol in x. If it is available, then return it. That's it. Let me execute this line of code. And if I will say find_semantics, cool. The data is all about this one. The data is all about this. Let me pass it. And if I will say, let's say this is my question mark, or let's say this is my symbol. The moment I will execute this line of code, it says true. It means the symbol is available in x. That's what it stands for. Similarly, if I will say, let's say train_QS of 1, let me execute. It says true. It means again there is some. Let me show you that. The moment I copy this, the moment I paste this, and if I will add it, let me execute. You can see we have a question mark over here. Now let's try to apply this function. On top of our train_QS series. I will say train_QS dot apply. Using this apply, I can think of applying my find_semantics function. And if I will press Shift plus Tab, here comes an interesting thing. This args, which is all about our arguments parameter, it basically receives a tuple. So what I will do is I will say cool. In this args, which is my parameter, I have have to store my symbol, or I have to define my symbol. Let's say my symbol is all about, let's say, question mark. The moment I will execute this line of code, it just takes a couple of seconds and it returns values in the form of Boolean data type. It means either as true or as false. Wherever it is true, it means at this row index, this argument is available over here. That's what it stands for. Now what I will do is, the moment I will compute its mean, so I will say numpy.mean of all the stuff, it will return some value. It says 99.87. It means, let me convert this into percentage. I will say into 100. Let me execute it again. Now it says there are 99.87% observation which have this question mark as a symbol over there. That's what it actually stands for. Now let's try to use the second approach, which is all about our lambda approach. Let's try to do this. So if I will say train_qs dot apply. Now as we know, lambda doesn't have any definition. So I can say cool, using this lambda on top of each and every x, I have to perform something, or inside this x I have to do some operation. I will say if this question mark is available in x, then just store some values. The moment I will execute this line of code, it will still return the same output what you have achieved using your custom function, what you have defined. It means this line of code and this line of code are doing similar task. They both are doing similar task. This is basically my anonymous function. It means it doesn't have any definition, but this is a function, and of course this code is optimal. In context of real world, it is extremely used, but here are some drawbacks. If someone who is a fresher or who is a beginner or someone who is from non-IT domain, he or she may not be understand this code. But if I will talk with respect to this code, it is much more flexible and of course easy to understand. So in general it says, hey, is there any question mark in X? If yes, or if no, just store that in the X. Just store that in X. This is what it stands for. Similarly, you can do this using your custom function. So now let's try to call numpy.mean on top of this. Along with that, let's try to multiply it by 100. Cool. Let me store it, let's say in qmarks. Let me just execute. And if I want to say qmarks, let me print it. The similar stuff you are still getting. Now let's try to touch upon, of course, using full stop or let's say some tag. Let's say math, or let's say math as a tag or math as a substring. Let's try to do this. So let me just copy all the block of code. Let me paste it. If I will say full stop, the moment I will execute, it says, hey, there are 6.3% of total observations that actually holds a full stop somewhere else in the row indexes data. Similarly, if I will say, let's try to talk with respect to, let's say this math as a substring or math tag. The moment I say, let's say this is a tag that we have. The moment I will execute this line of code, you will end up getting a 0.11%. It means question with math tags are typically 0.12%. That's what it stands for. So that's all about this session, and if you guys have any doubts, any issues, feel free to ask with us via Q&A. That's all about it. Thank you. Have a nice day. Keep learning, keep growing, keep practicing.